Wow, unbelievable. Devin Haney avoided again. The WBC has ordered Ryan Garcia, Joseph JoJo Diaz to do yet another eliminator instead of just fighting Devin Haney. I got to talk about this. Stay tuned. Yo, what up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Y'all know what to do. Do me a solid. And really, the other people who are looking for videos like this, throw a like on the video, share the video, subscribe, leave me a comment, all that good stuff. Devin Haney is so avoided in boxing. At this point, it's not even funny. And I'm going to jump right into the mix. The WBC back with the BS. Let's get it. WBC, they said these are mandatory fights. I'm not even going to focus on, so we could get straight to the bag. I'm not going to focus on any of the other fights. But one fight that they put at the bottom, as if no one would pay attention, is Joseph JoJo Diaz and Ryan Garcia for the WBC interim final elimination. Now, ironically enough, I had just did a video earlier today saying Devin Haney was avoided, Exhibit A. We're going to get back into it, right? So I said, I just put out a video this morning. Like, this is literally Ego Stradamus strikes again. Literally this morning before the WBC. If you look at the timestamps when this video came out and you look at when the WBC announced this in the afternoon at 2 p.m., my video was out before that. Anybody who watched it, you can tell me in the comment section. So I said, I just put out a video this morning telling y'all that Devin Haney was being ducked. Then hours later, the WBC orders another eliminator for Ryan Garcia and JoJo Diaz. Laughing my off. Man, if the WBC wanted to lose like most of their credibility in a short time, they're doing a great job. They let Oscar Valdez fail. They didn't make him fail a drug test, but they let him compete with a failed drug test, went against their own partnership with VADA, etc. Clenbuterol, the same thing. When Canelo failed with Clenbuterol and a Canelo Promotions fighter, Julio Cesar Martinez and Francisco Vargas, and there was a total of 5 Mexican fighters that had failed in recent memory with the Clenbuterol. Then they upped the amount. They said, we going with water code, and you can have more Clenbuterol in your system. So that happened. They defended Canelo, said, oh, yeah, it was the tainted meat. Oh, Canelo wouldn't do this, things like that. And they also made Canelo the franchise champion instead of fighting a black fighter, Jamal Charlo. And people were questioning, like, why, how come Canelo didn't have to fight Charlo? Isn't that your rule set? Same thing with Devin Haney. Devin Haney was the mandatory to Lomachenko, and he was vehemently calling him out. Devin Haney was calling out Lomachenko, and he was calling him Nomachenko and saying, yo, make the fight, let's go. And people could say whatever they want, but the truth is out there. The videos are out there. There's videos like on DAZN's YouTube where Devin Haney was calling out Lomachenko, and you can visually see this. But guess what? Just in the same way as Canelo, they made Lomachenko the mandatory, or actually they made him the franchise champion so that he had no mandatories, and then he ended up fighting Teofimo later, losing to Teofimo, and the rest is history. But to me, that's a terrible look. It's a terrible look because the WBC, these rules don't seem to be providing the same amount of shade for everybody. Like, they're worried about Canelo. He's getting too hot. The spot is hot for him, and the sun's out and it's sweltering, and they don't want Canelo to sweat, so they put him under the shade tree, right? Lomachenko, Devin Haney was barking up that tree saying, hey, let me at him, let me at him. So they gave and provided shade to Lomachenko. Notice a pattern. Top-ranked fighter, Ukrainian fighter, Mexican fighter, and Canelo, Oscar Valdez, Mexican fighter, Canelo. These are the actual facts. So what makes the Devin Haney situation even more shocking is that the two people with a company that focuses on Latino and Hispanic fighters like Golden Boy, right? You have Oscar De La Hoya, Mexican American, Roberto Diaz, Eric Gomez, etc. And they seem to be good with the WBC because they keep getting their way. Ryan Garcia, I believe he's Mexican American or whatever, and same thing with JoJo Diaz. And these guys, they're ordered to fight each other, but they're the mandatories for Devin Haney, a black fighter. That just looks bad. It looks bad. Devin Haney himself is saying, another eliminator, crying emoji, right? The WBC, if they wanted to lose all credibility with fans in a short period of time, please keep doing what you're doing. You're doing an amazing job at that, because this can't be justified. This makes no sense. Look, this is a boxing reporter, and he says this ish is lawsuit worthy at this point, right? This is a boxing writer. What the WBC is, they're making their own rules. And the thing that I really have a problem with is because this is what boxing tends to do for certain fighters, oftentimes black fighters, darker complected fighters, Afro-Cuban fighters, etc. And it becomes a way out for certain fighters to not fight the fights that need to happen and people who've been ranked or whatever. And even worse, is damaging because said black fighter or Afro-Cuban fighter, they have to deal with fans ridiculing them and denigrating their brand, saying stuff like, oh, Devin Haney, you ain't fought nobody. Why haven't you fought nobody? But you see the politics that are going on. JoJo Diaz said he would fight against Devin Haney, and then now it looks like Golden Boy doesn't want to make that fight. And look, it's on wax. Oh my gosh, this is a bad look, people. Shut your goofy butt up and let's fight by the end of the year, PUSSY. Devin Haney previously said, I didn't watch JoJo, sorry, but he says it's funny that he's calling out Ryan when he's my mandatory. This is in July he's saying this, right? Devin Haney says bet because JoJo Diaz says November we got a deal. But Golden Boy is not making the fight, right? And he says, we will see, sir. Don't backpedal. This is JoJo Diaz, what he's saying. Don't backpedal. I'm going to talk to the team in the weekend and lock that in for this year. So even no matter how much, even if JoJo Diaz, because he did mention Devin Haney after he beat Javier Fortuna. But this didn't age well because no matter what you say, why is Eminem trending in California? Shout out to Cali, shout out to M. Shout out to Marshall. Anyway, it doesn't age well because no matter what you say, you can't get your team to do this, right? You can't get your team to actually fulfill the prophecy and make the Devin Haney fight. So to me, that's a bad look. That's a bad look because guys are saying they want Dev and they'll fight him, but for whatever reason, it never happens. Teofimo said it, and then the fight didn't happen. It can't be justified at this point. But I can go even deeper for the fans that want the information. This is why this looks so bad for fighters and the WBC particularly. RingTV.com, right? RingTV.com, they have this article, and this is a previous article, of course. And guess what? It says Ryan Garcia accepts WBC lightweight title eliminator against Luke Campbell. So he already fought Luke Campbell, beat Luke Campbell, and he was supposed to be Devin's mandatory. Ryan also wolfed after the fight and said, oh yeah, I'll fight Devin, blah, blah, blah. Bring it on. I want to fight. And there's other run-ins that they had. So how did Ryan Garcia beat Luke Campbell by knockout? Tough fight, got dropped. And then he's still not fighting Devin Haney. And he's taking mental anxiety breaks, but he's on Twitch with Twitchers and streamers and influencers and doing body shot challenges, speed challenges. And now they're talking about JoJo Diaz. And now they're talking about there's an eliminator between those two. But when does this happen? Let me keep going. Joseph JoJo Diaz. He stepped up to the plate when Ryan had anxiety, and the fight got approved for the WBC interim title. So after Ryan pulled his stunt with the anxiety or whatever, Joseph JoJo Diaz stepped up in a major way, and it was seemingly apparent that he was going to fight against Devin Haney since he won, because they two had the back and forth, as I just showed you. They had the back and forth conversation and name calling, and he says, we got a deal. But then your team can't get that stuff done. So this looks really bad that Ryan Garcia and Joseph JoJo Diaz could fight each other. And guess what? It's not even that it's a bad fight. The fight's not bad, but it's about the principle. How is the WBC have all these rules and then seemingly break all of their rules at a whim? That looks bad. That looks extremely bad when you just make up rules arbitrarily. And then again, it's a bad look, because when does this ever appeal? Name an African-American fighter that was positively impacted by the WBC making the franchise champion. For guys like Estrada, Mexican fighter, guys like Ryan Garcia, they try to champion him for having anxiety and let him take a break, and then he gets rewarded with the JoJo Diaz fight, right? He gets rewarded with an Eliminator fight. He fought Luke Campbell. He's already supposed to be the mandatory, right? So he gets to wait it out and then be rewarded and not be forced to fight the tough fights. I mean, it's a look. Canelo, the clenbuterol, Oscar Valdez, it's piling up, y'all. And I know you guys see it, and it's looking real bad. That money looking funny under the light, and we'll see how long they can get away with doing that before fans really have had enough and revolt. I think PBC should definitely come up with their own belt and establish that ASAP. Just do your own belt. Devin Haney is being treated so foul. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. I'll be talking about this a whole lot more. You dig. I'm out.